We have seen some explosive price from Bitcoin within this last week, Matty, and I'm super excited to get into this edition this week of the Ask Matty Show. Matty, how are you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing great. I love to see all this price action. It's been a long time coming and feels like it's come along a lot faster than I think any of us expected. So I love to see it. Love to see the altcoin market waking up and just overall pumped about working in crypto professionally.
Yeah. This is a fun ride. I mean, it's been pretty fun scoring through our socials, a lot of engagement, a couple 70, 80,000 view videos, a lot of responses. People are engaged to crypto right now, and that's what I like to see. And that's what I like to see going forward as we continue on into this bull run. But before we start talking about the questions you guys have for today, we have to talk about some Bitcoin stuff today. We're going to talk, maybe Matty will give a Zcash analysis, a little updated TA analysis there. And we're going to talk about some crypto updates, a lot about altcoins we're buying. We kind of discussed on the after hours show, what we're doing over here, but we're going to get a little bit more into that as that is your guys' questions. But before we get into the content, become a Crypto Charged member. What are you doing? Why aren't you a Crypto Charged member? Why are you going on YouTube and watching YouTube videos, 7-minute, 8-minute videos, and making financial decisions based upon that? Join a community of smart individuals where we have tools, we have daily shows, we have the Discord where you can talk to the community, other experts, other people that are deep into DeFi, deep into, TA, deep into trading. You are going to level up for sure, as I have. And, it's only been, Matty, this community has been great for me, and there's just so much to offer there, what you can't get on traditional YouTube platforms. So, Matty, tell them about the code we got going.
Yeah, you guys know the deal. If you don't already by now, it's code YouTube, 50% off any membership. So that comes out to $50 a month or $49.80 something or whatever. We swallow the tax on that. And then $49 for the year for the annual plan. You guys can go with the quarterly plan, but most people are just kind of file themselves into a yearly or a monthly. Again, that $4.99, you guys probably doing the math in your head, does come out to a little less per month than the monthly plan. So you guys are going to save $8 or $9 there. If you guys choose to go yearly, you guys get 30 days free with any of those memberships. And again, if you guys start with the monthly and you're like, man, I really like this program, I wish I had just gone with the yearly, no worries. Just shoot me an email. I'll get you upgraded to the yearly at the $4.99 a year plan.
At least check it out, team, because the gains you're about to make in crypto will pay for the Crypto Charged membership. And I got to tell you guys, I've been meditating on where I was at, a couple years ago. I know it's not good to meditate on the past, but just to reflect. Maybe reflect's a better word there. I was reflecting on the past and where I was at with my investing, and I'm super thankful for the people that were put in my life, like Matty, like Dan, like Brian, and these people that have been around the block. These guys are much older than me. I'm only 22. And just to learn investing from them has been very helpful to me. And I would imagine for many Crypto Charge members, and being able to look at what they have done in life and look at what they're doing in investing and being able to implement it in my own ways and being able to, if you look at my portfolio, very close to Matty's. I believe Matty sold me day one. I remember day one, I was with my little notepad after the show, and we're looking at charts, and he's showing me what these assets do in a bull run, and we're looking historically here. I'm just like, damn, you really can't make this nowhere else. So my point being here, team, is I want to encourage the young people. I want to encourage my generation, Gen Z. If you're not going to make any money like this anywhere else. You're not going to make it in real estate. You're not going to make it in stock market unless you're investing in tech stocks. But you're not going to be able to invest in an asset class that has such a unique purpose to offer in technology and even decentralized finance. Oh my gosh, I can keep going on. I keep bringing up Proppy, and I can't wait for more projects like Proppy to be able to integrate into mortgage and real estate and really offer the real thing we care about here with this crypto. We want to make money, but is this utility? Bridging the real world, like, XRP, peer-to-peer transactions and things that we can use in our day-to-day that make things more efficient, that ease life. I think one of Matty's famous talking points that I've implemented into when I talk to regular people is oh, why is crypto important? Or, how could crypto even be used? I'm like, listen, you don't even understand the legacy banking system. So if you don't understand that, why do you need to understand crypto? Okay, and that's not to discourage you from learning crypto you can, we offer here. We go deep into, what these projects offer to the real world and what they're going to do Within 5 to 10 years now. I don't want to put a date on it here, Matty. I know we have to be forward looking though, as I've mentioned in the past. But these altcoins or these projects do have real world use cases, and that's why I'm very anti meme coin. That's why I'm very slightly anti, just the art NFT speculation buys, and I really want to invest in things that are going to change my life without me even knowing it, right? Without it's all going on in the background, like what these cryptocurrencies could offer, like XLM or XRP, these payment solutions, or when it comes to companies, collaborating, partnering with a project like Casper and being able to upgrade their enterprise with blockchain and like AI governance we talked about last week, and their track and trace feature. So those are good things, and I would like to see that implementation. But I was just Maddie, I was just posting a video, and I like reflecting on our videos and the things you say. But you were just saying, it takes time for these things, and you always talk about IBM and Microsoft, but it takes time for these things to come to fruition. It doesn't happen overnight. And we are in a phase right now in crypto where we are speculating, but we are investors into projects that will have something to offer or already have something to offer, like XRP and the company Ripple. So with all that being said, team, my main point, I don't know why I went off on a tangent there. I just wanted to, Matty, I just wanted to get to, hey, this is your show, bro. Why am I talking? I just wanted to speak to the young kids here, man, because if you are young, you can't be looking away from this right now, because this is an asset class that can change your life. And I remember in college, Matt, that these people were looking at me with three heads. I gave plenty of presentations throughout college about either Bitcoin or about even at the time you just started talking about Casper. I was talking about at school. I remember talking about XRP and what the company Ripple brings to the real world. And people would look at me like I have three heads. And these are people that, didn't have jobs or anything, and they were just getting into a bunch of student debt, and were like, oh, this guy knows about money? Like, or like, what's this blockchain stuff? Bitcoin? How do you be buying NFTs? And those used to razz me up in college, but now I get to look back on that, and all the due diligence I was doing in 2022, in 2023 is all paying off right now, and is going to continue paying off into this bull run. So I'm super excited, team. If you're new, if you're an expert, we want you in the community. We want people from all different backgrounds, and we want to be able to collaborate to make this very helpful for you guys, and to be able to, grow our community in a fashionably manner with people that are encouraged by crypto. I remember last week we were talking about John Dean entering government, and that's like, those are the type of people we want in our community, people that want to make a difference in crypto and want to invest in an asset class like this. So Matty, before we get into the questions here, big rant I just went on right now, big spiel. Anything to add on to that before we get into the questions here?
No, I think you had a good point talking specifically about starting young, right? And I know that it's intimidating to get invested, and you look at other people's dollar amounts, or you care about how many coins they have or how many stocks they have, right? And you go, well, I only have this much, and I'm not going to make a difference, right? The earlier you start with any kind of investing, right? That's where the compounding rewards come in, right? You starting at 20, 21, 22 years old versus you starting at 30, 32, 33, which again, if you guys are there and you're not starting, still better start late now than never, right? The amount of money you actually have to put in for those compounding rewards of somebody who starts in their early 20s versus somebody who starts in their 30s is exponentially less. So you actually have more power right now, even with a smaller amount, than starting later in life. So like you said, just get started. Doesn't have to be a big amount, just an amount you can consistently commit to.
All right, Matty, let's get into the content, the questions that the team, and we have a couple statements that I thought were outrageous, and I just wanted to bring them to you. Matty, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Underscore Money Matters 41 says, is all of crypto really about to pump?
I mean, it's already happening. Crypto is already pumping. Guys, come on. This is what happens in the market, right? I don't know if you guys are new or not. You get Bitcoin really kind of leading the way. We obviously have already seen a deviation for what we've seen in the previous two cycles, which was a significant or at least like sizable retrace from like a 50 or 618, 702 region, deviating from there, breaking significantly higher above those prices. But nonetheless, when we see a shedding of Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin finally take that breather, the rest of the altcoin market really gets the opportunity to wake up. We're already seeing meme coins really start to show their colors. We're seeing a lot of things kind of cross over some major resistance levels that they were stuck under for hundreds of days, some of them for thousands of days. And really, there's always so many surprises for people, especially those who have looked away from certain assets. They went to go chase whatever was up, and then all of a sudden they see all this news on Twitter, and they see the rankings change on CoinMarketCap, and they're like, "Oh my God, where did this pump come from?" And they're like feverishly looking for news onto what happened and what celebrity endorsed it, and then they're like, "Wow, there's nothing." I guess price action is price action, right? So I think that we're getting ready for a very, very big pump here in the altcoin market. We got really the short stick last cycle. A lot of alts didn't get that opportunity to flourish because the Fed decided to tighten very aggressively after letting inflation get rampantly out of control. I guess that they were very surprised by printing trillions of dollars and keeping rates at zero, making credit essentially next to free, causes a very sticky inflation problem. But good thing we pay these guys millions of dollars a year to make such predictions. I digress. So we didn't really get that opportunity with altcoins last cycle. I think now that we've done this tightening for the last 18 months, now we're on a pause. When those cuts do come in, and if we get a really nice timing here where we get cuts and we get those cuts continue into the election cycle, we could have a very explosive end to 2024. Now, again, I think one thing that I think that people talk about, I've seen people talk about, is the cycle length, right? Oh, well, this all of a sudden we've gotten some nice price action since October, and everyone goes, well, this one's going to be very, very short, or this is going to be a 4-year cycle. How do you guys know any of that shit, right? Like, how could you possibly know that, right? Because where Bitcoin is now, because we've deviated from the pre-halving, right? What indicators are you guys actually using for those things, right?
Matty, they're using that AI bot that we talked about last show.
It's got to be the AI bot, man. And again, that's why I think that timeline expectations really just kind of mess up your overall plan, because it can create an unnecessary sense of urgency, or sometimes can create this environment where you think that you have forever to accumulate when, potentially it isn't, right? So it kind of has just always taken the consistent approach of investing what I can afford to invest. I'm investing at levels that make sense from a technical analysis perspective, and I'm going to exit in a multi-part exit plan to where target one is at least satiating all, if not most, if not all, of what I put into the project, right? So that's really what you guys should be focusing on, is if you're entering now, finding tactical entry points in good quality projects, and then also making sure that you have an exit plan for your existing assets, as well as those newly bought assets, right? In my opinion, you should not be buying an asset without an exit plan, right? It should be an all-in-one bundle. You can't check out required field, must have exit plan, right? Coinbase should probably make you guys do that. But that's really what I would recommend to you guys is, as we get into these rallies, don't get greedy, right? Especially if you guys are getting some crazy microcaps or meme coins and you see a nice little multi-X on the table that happens over a couple day period. At least take your initial investment out, at least, right? Like, clear those chips off the board. And if you guys want to let the rest ride, go for it. But don't get greedy here. It's very, very easy to get overly greedy in these periods of bullishness.
All Frills says, if BTC goes to 120,000 over the next 6 months, everyone would be ecstatic. But that's only a 2x from here. If in all only 10x's, it's a failure. I thought this was an interesting perspective, Matty. What do you think about this? Is this true?
I think he's spot on. And I think he's not a Bitcoin maxi in this context here. I think he's obviously suggesting that people have an inability to view returns versus price, right? 0.00001 going up 10x is a 10x, regardless if it was worth still less than a penny or if it's worth $100,000, right? Please, guys, for Christ's sake, detach yourself from the dollar amount, right? It really comes down to what we have structurally on the table. And what a lot of these altcoins have offered with such a terrible bear market condition was for some of these altcoins, minus 98, minus 99%, right? And if you're there and you haven't broken out, right, the areas of resistance above those, which again, market makers will draw price often to those areas, are going to offer you an exponentially bigger reward, regardless of the price and regardless of it even making a new all-time high or not. Again, I really don't care about an all-time high. I'm here about returns, right? Now, of course, a lot of these assets we're expecting to make new all-time highs. We're expecting to take profits at those new all-time highs. But that doesn't mean that there are ops out there that I'm looking at both from a swing trading perspective of like, hey, there's a 3 or 4x here to this next liquidity zone. Let's buy in, let's exit here, and let's rotate. There's also some assets I've been holding for a while, and I'm like, all right, let's take 20% of the bag. Let's take some here, and rotate, right? It's all about the return. So this is a very, very good perspective. It truly is the perspective of most people. Again, when you talk to most people about crypto in general, they're like, wow, it went up all the way to this price. And yeah, it's impressive. But at the end of the day, who really cares, guys? Who really cares about the dollar amount? It's really about what you made percentage wise. And that's all that matters to me. So yeah, like you said, Bitcoin 120K trading, 60s, 70s, 80s, right? Like it's really not that great of a reward compared to what you have in the altcoin market right now.
Yeah, I agree with that, Matty. I actually reject that premise about if it, about the all-time high mattering. Not he didn't say matter more, but this is definitely a real thing that happens. Is they're looking for that all-time high or some egregious, number, egregious figure on an altcoin, but they're missing the point, and it's the returns, and that's where we need to be focused on those rotational moves in altcoins. But even still, if XRP didn't do an all-time high, we're selling a lot of our XRP near that top. And so that is going to keep us safe. And so I really like that because it really takes the fanboy out of it, because that whole all-time high narrative is really a fanboy type thing. Did you sell the top? That's my question.
Right.
Did you sell the top? So I like what you had to say there. Regarding Bitcoin, Jim said, but will it dip more than 20% before the bull peak? I don't think it will. And this was regarding your take. I believe it was last week, and we posted a clip on TikTok about it, about your Bitcoin take, how there will be crashes or corrections, because corrections and crashes are a little bit different there. Matty, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that you guys I can't believe we're early on as we are, and you guys already have like your beer goggles on, your bull market goggles on. That's what it is like, I think it was January. Yeah, it was January. We had a 20% pullback right in January, right? And like sentiment's still very good. We're still making higher highs and higher lows, but like, okay. I'm trying not to lose it here. Uptrends are comprised of higher highs and higher lows, right? In crypto, we become accustomed to very fast returns. So we assume that what has happened immediately in front of us will always happen again, right? And that's not the case. And we also can't look at the past and say what happened previously is guaranteed to happen again in the future, right? So you guys already agree with a lot of that. I know that you guys do. You guys look back on previous cycles and you go, well, hey, that 2020, 2021 bottom, or 2020 bottom isn't the same as this bottom. Yeah, absolutely correct, right? So why are we now applying the same logic of, well, what happened previously is not what's going to happen now, to what happened in the last 30 days is going to happen over these next 30 days, right? Again, we have seen many, many large pullbacks within parabolas. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect multiple mini crashes on the way up. And of course, it's not going to feel that bad because you're going to probably see a nice recovery, sometimes even same day or next day or like over a few days, right? Sometimes it's a very short period where Bitcoin's at that higher low. But again, when you do get these large crashes, like even when we got the intra-cycle crash after the 2021 first peak, right? The second peak that came in was technically a double peak, right? But you had a very large knockback. Go ahead and find the narrative. Find the narrative that actually made the market crash that deeply, right? You guys can look, and there's a million times China has quote unquote banned crypto, so we can't use that one, right? Because that already would have crashed the markets before. I want you guys to look at that's last cycle crash. There was no fundamental reasoning that really made sense to see that big of a drawdown in Bitcoin, right? Markets get overheated and they need to see a correction. We see the same exact theology when we get down into the bear market, right? Well, we've dropped an egregious amount. What are we looking for? Dead cat bounce, right? Does that mean we're not going to make a new low still? No, we can still absolutely make a new low, but there is still some sort of rebalancing that eventually happens within markets, right? Otherwise, we're just trading straight lines up and straight lines down, and what's the point of any of this, right? Market makers are also incentivized to create a little bit of chop, right? Because if everything's just going straight up all the time with no pullbacks, right? Where are market makers making their money, right? They're not really making as much money as they want to be making if it's just in a parabola, right? They're just collecting trading fees on one side. They want to make sure they can screw over both sides, right? They want to make sure they screw the bears, screw the bulls, and then let price keep going. So if you believe that we will never see a 20% or even greater crash or correction within this entire uptrend on the way up before we peak, I believe you're sorely mistaken.
B Markson 15 says, what are some lagging cryptos that are still worth it?
Oh, yeah. I definitely check out my favorite website. I log in every day. It's cryptocharge.com. You guys can actually search by ROI there. But seriously, guys, I know that you guys want to know our picks, and I give you guys a lot of the picks on here. that is the place to go do it. Is, go to the area where I put all this time and effort in, with a chart to accompany it, why we're entering, what those limits are. Couple that we're I'm personally still very key on is, I think Sushi Swap is still far behind. That's going to be kind of more like a swing trade opportunity for me, but it's still a play that I'm pretty aggressively looking at right now. I am in from a spot perspective, and Zcash is still under $50, guys. You guys know that's the price point, right? We're looking at potentially even Barry Silbert talking about a $1,500 price point for Zcash, and I don't think that's unreasonable. That's kind of like the midpoint between like the lows and like the absolute highs. I don't think that that's absolutely crazy. I think that a lot of people, if you told them the Bitcoin Cash was going to be one of the first runners, even at the middle of the bear market last year, right, or whatever, the top of last year, they would have told you you're crazy, right? Bitcoin Cash is at like $500 now. It's had a very, very nice run. We've gone and cleared out a lot of these liquidity zones. So I'm still banking on Zcash, right? Zcash was down in the $18, $19, $20 region. A lot of people thought that, hey, I'm making some stupid decisions here. We're up quite nicely from some of those buys that I picked up in that $18 and $20 region. So I go against the grain. I buy the lows. We don't sing kumbaya and buy the bottom. You guys just have to decide to be a little bit rogue with it, because the community isn't there until price is up, right? So if I'm going to give you two freebies, it's going to be Sushi and Zcash. But if you guys want our full expansive list, that's in the coin library. You can search by ROI, and it'll tell you which has the biggest potential ROI from current market to our target one price.
Last question here. When time flies, could you do a TA update on the Zcash dollar and BTC pairs next time you go live? Think we have double bottomed in both pairs. Excellent time to do an update.
Yeah, so with Zcash, guys, it's one of those assets that we had yet to establish like a firm bottom on. And I think that we've done that now. When we look, on the previous lows that it struck, we have technically on some charts. And again, this is why I tell you guys I do more analysis than most of the people do out there, because I'll look at one Zcash chart or one Bitcoin chart. I look at multiple charts because I want to see, is there any illiquidity candles? Is there any scam wicking that happened on other exchanges? Because even though it didn't happen on another exchange, it's still an area of interest that's shared across market makers. They don't work independently. So when we look at Zcash, we look at the lows, we see that there's technically a scam wick at 10. We have lots of candle body closes in the, 18 to like $30, $40 region. This has been a very, very strong bottom when you guys look at some of the older price histories available on Zcash. That's part of the problem, is you guys are not looking at an old enough chart. So make sure you guys always go through all of them. And then once you find the one that has the oldest price history, that's going to help give you some better indicators of what price is actually doing. We actually have really firm support here for Zcash. We just have not seen the same parabola and awakening that we've seen in the rest of the altcoin market. From the lows that everyone was telling me I was an idiot buying, we're up over 70% right now on Zcash from some of those buys right now. And I've significantly lowered my overall average on Zcash to where I have an enormous amount of flexibility when it comes to selling in this bull market, whether it be trimming, whether it be TP1, TP2, TP3, or even holding some of that very long term, because I've culminated such a great average through the consistent buying, especially through the support band here. So Zcash is something that's still really, really exciting to me. Of course, you guys don't even have to look at the Bitcoin pairings. What he's talking about here is, what do we usually measure these pairs in? We have like Bitcoin USD, right? So we're always going to measure it in dollar denominated values. But what you can do is you can also pin up, like you can in foreign exchange, pin up one currency against another. Of course, it's just a division problem, right? You take the price of Bitcoin, divide it by Zcash, right? Guys,
Matty, you want to give them a look at that? Just show them really quickly what that looks like.
Yeah, so basically, if we were to pull up the Bitcoin Zcash chart, so we go BTC, and then we'll go ZEC here. Let's see. Maybe we have to go the other way around. Okay, cool. So we have to go with Zcash first in this instance. So it's going to be the Zcash Bitcoin chart. But you guys should already be able to know what's happening there, right? When you have a very aggressive climb in Bitcoin price, which always happens at the front end of the cycle, right? Bitcoin kind of sets the tone. We see potentially a new high come in, and then you see the rest of the altcoin market catch up. So obviously the projection of this chart is going to be down. If I were to be looking at the inverse of that, it would be looking at something like this, right? If I were to be looking at Bitcoin Zcash, it would look something like this, right? The value of Bitcoin is appreciating against Zcash, but of course we have it the other way around. So we see a depreciation. Here's the thing though, this pairing isn't so important in relation to making a new all-time high. It doesn't matter, right? Because again, we're not cashing out in Bitcoin, right? We're cashing out in USD. Unless you guys are just rolling back and forth between Bitcoin and alts forever, and then I guess you're just going to pay for all your taxes in cash. I don't know what your plan is. But it really doesn't matter to me. So, you could really just clear out an imbalance here on the Zcash Bitcoin chart, right? You could probably come up towards this level again, like the level that was important all through 2022. And you could still potentially see this really crazy asymmetric return with Zcash, right? It's all just relative to current market price divided by current market price. So it's not really relevant in relations to how far Zcash can go. But yeah, right now, of course, if you look at most charts, even altcoins that have done really well, you're still going to see this pairing that is showing a appreciation of Bitcoin against altcoins.
Well, great breakdown of that, Matty. Thank you for doing that anyways, even though it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But great question, though. It's just a good thing to bring up. Team, a lot of great questions today. Thank you for that. Matty, let's just wrap it up here because we have other things to do. Anything to leave the team with? Final closing thoughts here.
Yeah, if you guys are new, if you're going to come into this and you want to be as the best you very can be, and you want to learn a lot of this stuff like technical analysis and building a portfolio, especially at this point in the market right now, you need to come with a different mindset than if you were to be joining my program a year ago. Meaning that you need to I expect you to be on the fast track, right? So you need to go and you need to watch all that material. Even if you think you know it, go and watch all the educational material, make it a priority, right? That's going to help get you locked in. Making sure that you're dedicating some time every day to studying the charts a little bit and watching our update to make sure you understand what's going on out there and what we're looking for, right? It is going to be slightly more difficult if you're brand new to crypto to just jump in right now with minimal effort. You are going to have to put in more time and effort right now. Now, get through the cycle, you make some nice money, you learn even a little about leverage, right? That means you can join us when we're in this bear market territory and we're doing some short selling, right? That's something absolutely a lot of my team knows all about now, is they're fully confident and understand how a short sell is set up, and we can make money when the market's going down still, right? So you have the opportunity to make some money now and get really educated, potentially engage in some short positions, and then reaccumulate with us, understand what some of our new picks are, the old picks that we're reintegrating and reallocating to, and build yourself a new portfolio for the next cycle. But just come with the expectation that you're gonna have to put a little bit more time up front here if you want to be really, really successful.
You guys aren't scared of the challenge, are you? Come on,
I hope not. I hope not.
All right, team. Thank you for joining us today. We will see you guys next week. If you're a member, we'll see you in the Discord and on the shows we have for the rest of the week. But until for you guys, our subscribers, our free paying subscribers, we will see you guys next week. We love you guys. Bye.